Thank you all for the support, especially our friends who supported the channel financially, and get 2,000 like. After Ryu killed the orc warrior, Jo Yong and his companions gazed at Ryu Min with awe and said, "He already killed it, even that scary monster." But Ryu Min's attention was elsewhere, and this is because messages detailing rewards were appearing incessantly. Defeated an orc warrior. Experience gained, +3773%. 3773%. Gold acquired, +4,000. Bonus gold. Obtained, 2,000. Obtained, Sword of Huandu. Obtained, Orc's Heart. Obtained, Lesser Azure Mana Stone. Obtained, Stone of Balance. Subquest progress, Stone of Balance 1-4. At this moment, a slight grin curved on Ryu Min's lips as the message materialized, and said to himself, "Knocking down a boss is way more rewarding than swatting the small fry," and the experience bar, which had barely budged before, now surged up by over 37% after the boss takedown. In addition to that, he pocketed 4,000 gold, and as if it wasn't enough, bonus gold cascaded in too. But that's not the whole story. Some nifty items popped up as well. Sword of Huandu. Description: a sword with an eye-catching circular loop on its hilt. Type: weapon. Rarity: epic. Attack power: 100. Effect: gain +5% attack speed with each hit on an enemy, up to 10 stacks. Durability: 1,000, 1,000. Usage restriction: requires regular grade or higher. Then Ryu said it was almost disappointing that it wasn't a scythe but rather a sword. If it were a scythe, it'd be a no-brainer to use. Maybe using this sword instead of the scythe might dish out more damage. In the fact, Ryu Min's current weapon, the Reaper's Scythe, boasted an attack power of 25. Even considering the Reaper's rune that doubled attack power when using a scythe, it still hovered around 50. And with a simple comparison clearly showcased the superiority of the Sword of Huandu, clocking in at an attack power of 100. Then Ryu said to himself, "But hey, the sword's not my main. While its attack power might be lower, sticking to the trusty scythe might be more efficient." Although his initial class was a hunter, he could handle most weapons, but just not like a scythe-like master, and he had been planning to upgrade his weapon after this round anyway. Then he said, "I'll stash the Ring of Huandu and sell it to someone in need later. A weapon of this caliber was practically one of a kind, so I could command a steep price." Next up was Orc's Heart, an item. Description: a solid red stone. It might look like a heart, but don't worry, it's not the real deal. And some might find it eerie enough to toss aside, but that'd be a lifelong regret. It's a key ingredient for crafting a unique item. It was a must-have item for Ryu Min, and he also got a Lesser Azure Mana Stone and a Stone of Balance in the fact Ryu had reaped a good harvest from taking down the mid-boss. And after wrapping up his item check, Ryu Min turned his gaze around, and he was surprised by what he saw as Jo Yong stood there, wide-eyed. And then, in a flash, he regained his composure and spoke with a glint in their eyes. "Black Scythe, you're incredible to single-handedly take down that monster. I wouldn't have dared to fight it." Then Jo Yong, now more composed, respectfully dipped his head and said, "Thank you for defeating the monster. You've saved my brothers' and my life." Ryu said, "I don't have a hobby of watching people die." Then Jo Yong said, "I see. Did you know the monster was going to show up?" But Ryu responded nonchalantly, not in the mood to delve into details. After wiping out the other orcs, a mid-boss usually makes an entrance. And Ryu continued, saying, "Now that my business is concluded, I'll be on my way." Jo Yong said, "Yes, thank you once again for rescuing us. Take care, Black Scythe." And when Ryu Min turned away, a voice reached him from behind. One of them said excitedly, "Let's head out too. We need to start hunting," as seeing Black Scythe's remarkable performance ignited their spirit. But suddenly a wounded mercenary crumbled to his knees with a groan. Jo Yong said anxiously, "Mangi, are you all right?" Mangi said, "Brother, I can't go on. I can't endure any longer." In the midst of the sudden commotion, Ryu Min stopped and turned around. Then Jo Yong's voice echoed, directed at the injured mercenary. "What are you talking about? Didn't you say that you were fine earlier? Mangi replied, Back then, I was concerned about Hyung-nim, but now, it's beyond my limit, Jo-young said, trying to motivate him. Nevertheless, hold on. You need to endure for the time remaining, so you can be healed when we're back to the real world. But Mangi weakly shook his head and said, Hyung-nim, you know it too. If we can't even reach 300 kills, it's all pointless. Hearing that Jo-young fell into silence, facing the reality he had overlooked. Failure to complete the main quest would result in vanishing without a trace, and pleading to an angel would be futile. And now, Mangi had lost hope, and said, I was wrong. I understand my own body well. With this body, I can't fight. Just leave me and go. I can't burden Hyung-nim and the others anymore. Jo-young, usually composed as a leader, was now flustered. And he said, A weapon. Can't you wield a weapon, right? We'll weaken the orcs for you to stab. You have that much strength, don't you? Mangi replied, But then you and the others won't be able to hunt. I'm already causing trouble. I don't want to hinder you till the end. Please go quickly. I don't want you to see me like this, Jo-young said in panic. No, I can't just leave. You keep losing strength. How can I go and leave you behind? At that moment, Ryu-min's eyes showed surprise at Jo-young's near-panicked state and said to himself, For the mercenary king, leading hundreds of mercenaries, to show such weakness in front of a single comrade. If it were his own close sibling, Ryu might understand, as he had been in a similar position with his own sibling. Then Ryu said to himself, Given this situation, I might be able to help, and he opened the store interface and hastily purchased a utility skill. Then Ryu said to Jo-young's group, Hey, looks like you need help. Can I take a look? Ryu-min's sudden appearance prompted question marks on the faces of Jo-young's group. Ryu seemed like he was trying to offer assistance, but given the dire circumstances, negative thoughts were the only ones that came to mind. Jo-young said, Is there even a way to save him? Ryu said, Yes. Then Ryu-min approached Mangi closely and inspected his injuries and said, The wounds are quite severe, but they're not beyond healing. And Ryu muttered incomprehensible words and placed his hand on the injured area. At that moment, when the group was puzzled by Ryu-min's sudden actions, something unexpected occurred. A green light emanated from Ryu's palm. Its radiance exuded a comforting warmth, and the blood that had been sluggishly flowing started to clot, and the wound began to close on its own. Everyone present stared in astonishment, their mouths agape. Even Mangi, the most concerned, couldn't utter a word as he looked at his own wound. Then Mangi said in astonishment, The wound, it's gone? And it wasn't just the wound. The pain had disappeared as well. Ryo replied calmly, Yeah. In fact, the exceptional healing prowess left the party in awe, though the truth was, the skill wasn't quite as simple as it seemed, as it can stop bleeding and heal minor wounds, but it can't fix a shattered shoulder. But here's the twist. Ryu-min seemed to almost effortlessly heal the shoulder, pushing beyond the skill's limits. And it all boiled down to the influence of intelligence on healing, the intelligence stat being the driving force here, and with Ryu's current boosted intelligence of 123, combined with the rune's 32% skill boost, fixing a shoulder shouldn't be a tall order. Although first aid was at its core a skill from the common category, with the rune's enhancement, its effects were magnified, leading to this impressive outcome. Then Ryu said, Try moving your shoulder. Scars might linger on you, but your movements shouldn't be hindered. Mangi rotated his shoulder, and his expression shifted from disbelief to pure delight in the blink of an eye. And he said happily, It's moving normally. Then Ryu said to him, But that doesn't mean it's completely healed. Remember, this is an emergency treatment. If you push too hard, the wound could reopen. Still, it shouldn't hinder your hunting activities. Mangi replied gratefully, Thank you so much. Black Scythe, you're my savior. Thank you, truly. At that moment, an expression of gratitude and recognition of the amount of help appeared on Jo-young's face, and he said, Black Scythe, thank you for healing Mangi. I'm grateful as well. Thank you for saving our comrade. Then Joe Yong take out an item from his inventory. It was a low-grade red mana stone, and other members also eagerly offered items, some mana stones, while others proffered equipment. They were originally hoping to secure some gold by selling them. And he said to Ryu, "While this might not have immense utility, please accept it. It's my way of saying thank you." Ryu said, "No need to go to this extent." Despite any attempt to decline, the items were placed into Ryu's hands, and Joe Yong said, "No, it's a symbol of gratitude. Please accept it. And thanks to Black Scythe, our friend now has hope for survival. Separate from the token we've just given you. I promise to repay this debt someday." In an intriguing twist, Ryu had not only accrued a debt from the mercenary king, but also gained his favor, and he said to himself, "Considering I needed to learn a common skill anyway, this is quite a significant gain." And looking forward, when the strength of the mercenary king was inevitably needed, this episode would surely carry significant weight. Then Ryu said to them, "Well then, until we meet again, take care." Going to Minjuri, before entering the 5th round, she was immediately reminded of Ryu Min's advice. As Ryu said to her, "The quest to take down 300 orcs is far from a walk in the park. Orcs are no pushovers, they're tough, and they tend to swarm in aggressively. You definitely shouldn't entertain any thoughts of facing them solo." Then she replied, "So, you're suggesting I should seek help from Black Scythe?" Ryu said, "Exactly. Once the territory integration is complete, make your way to Black Scythe. Don't even think about tangling with orcs. And even if you somehow can't get in touch with Black Scythe, wait an hour before making any moves." Then Minjuri said, "Got it. Thanks for the heads up, Min." And sticking to Ryu Min's advice, Minjuri patiently awaited the territory integration. Putting her trust in Ryu Min when the integration eventually took place, she tried to locate Black Scythe, and she said to herself, "How should I approach this?" she briefly wondered. But in truth, there was no need to actively search, because among the 10 area representatives gathered for the bonus game, Black Scythe was among them. Then Minjuri said to herself, "Ah, there he is. I will talk to him after it's over." But simultaneously, her curiosity was aroused, as she wondered if Black Scythe could truly claim the area representative position as the prophecies foretold, and the result didn't disappoint as Black Scythe emerged victorious, showcasing an overwhelming skill gap as expected. Then she said, "Well, he's at level 30, so that's understandable." And after understanding this, she tentatively moved towards Black Scythe, but her steps faltered as she neared. Even though she saw Black Scythe descending from the deathmatch, she hesitated to get closer. And she didn't believe she could and said to herself, Why is this happening?" And the reason was simple. It was an innate fear. The fear any human would feel towards a strong adversary hindered her steps, especially after witnessing scenes of heads being brutally severed. Then she said to herself, Min already said, I need to cooperate with Black Scythe. He'll definitely need my help, and he wouldn't harm me." But when she snapped back to reality, Black Scythe had vanished, and she said sadly, "Ah, I missed my chance in the end." It seemed he had departed for the main quest. Now what should I do? Min said attacking orcs alone was too much. But I can't just stand here. And with nothing else to do, Minjuri decided to heed Ryu Min's advice and wait for an hour. And an hour passed this way. Minjuri observed the progress window, time remaining until round end. 08, 55, 15. Main quest progress, orcs 0300. Seeing her progress, she let out a sigh and an unexpected unease crept over her, and she said anxiously, "This is bad. Will I really disappear if I don't kill 300 orcs? I came here trusting Black Scythe, but I can't even find him." In fact, it was her own mistake, as her unnecessary fear had caused her to lose track of Black Scythe. Then she said, "I can't just stay put. There's no guarantee Black Scythe will return to the starting point." Then, step by step, she moved, and her eyes darted around, searching for Black Scythe, and she remained vigilant of her surroundings. After that, she said, "At first glance, it seems like he went this way." and she headed in the direction where Black Scythe had vanished. About 10 minutes later, she spotted the outline of a village in the distance. Judging from its appearance, it seemed to be the orc's dwelling. And she said, "Could he be inside? No, better not risk it. It might be dangerous." Then she decided to turn back without getting too close. But at that moment, she encountered the very presence she didn't want to face. It was an orc. It looked just like the orcs from the game, so she recognized it immediately. Then the orc rushed toward her with an axe. Minjuri said, "Oh no, I didn't want to face an orc," and it was an inevitable battle situation. Then Minjuri immediately cast a buff on herself, and all stats increased by 50% due to the effect of the skill Bless, and her primary agility stat rose from 24 to 36, and her secondary strength stat, where she had invested a bit, rose from 12 to 18. Then Minjuri gripped the rapier bestowed upon her as a mark of her class upgrade. In fact, Mingari was noticeable at some points. First, there was the fact that she was facing a solitary opponent. Second, the knowledge she had gained from Ryu Min regarding the orcs' weak points, as Ryu suggested, aiming for their necks since other parts are densely muscled. And in a one-on-one confrontation, Minjuri felt a surge of confidence. After that, the orc's axe blade swung towards her shoulder. This part ends. Do you want the next parts, or do you want me to upload another manga and wait for the main manga, which will be in 2 or 4 months?